This was the best fight in PFL history.
Say it.
This was the best fight in PFL history, and for two basic reasons, or two ways you at least can examine that. I can show you, especially if we go to the World Series of Fighting, I can show you crazier fights that this organization in either iteration.
Justin Gaethje involved in these?
Justin Gaethje, Luis Palomino 1 and 2 are
Yes.
crazier than this.
Yes.
And then honestly, the one that they had, I have my notes, the one in NFL, what am I saying? The one at PFL Europe that they put this year, Lewis McGrillen and Dean Garrett.
Yes.
This was the one that had 14 knockdowns in like 12 minutes or so, something insane. I can certainly show you more insane ones than what you saw on Saturday. In many respects, BC, it was actually a pretty measured fight. It wasn't crazy.
Well, it wasn't about craziness and theatrics. It was about heart,
technique,
level. It was about, yeah.
But this was the best fight in PFL history. In terms of the combination of youth, elite talent, nip and tuck, one person raising their game, changing something, the other person having to answer for it, and winning a round, potentially losing a round. I know the judges' scorecards didn't necessarily reflect it, but then the referee getting involved to kind of clean it up, but also having an effect on how the scoring went. In terms of a marriage of slow burn appeal of a fight, youth, technique, skill, strategy, implementation, drama, this is the best fight the PFL has ever put on by a country mile.
And if this is the end of Bellator, then what a fight to go out with.
And I'm going to say this, it wasn't just that the fight itself was great, although it absolutely was, despite some of the early fouling in both directions, which inevitably forced the hand of referee Mike Beltran. But I got to say this, again, I don't necessarily think Dubai was the best place to put it, but in terms of the matchmaking, this was excellent matchmaking, giving Paul Hughes a shot against Nurmagomedov. Nurmagomedov, BC, dismissing him, which we talked about last week, ended up actually making Paul Hughes more competitive because Usman admits after the fight he took him lightly.
Which we called that he may be taking him lightly and that this was going to be a real fight.
That blew up in his face big time. And for the BC, you always know a fight is great when the scoring is to a degree controversial, but the person who lost somehow still won.
Yes.
People either think that they won.
This wasn't controversial. It was disputed. Let's be
disputed. Fair. And the loser raising their profile in such a way that to come out of this being like, we've got to see the rematch. We've got to see this one again. The PFL promotionally with this entire thing, especially how the fight ended, BC, they hit a complete home run. We kill them all the time on this show. So when they do well, we got to give them credit.
Puff the bag.
They kicked ass this weekend.
Rare fight where everyone won. Usman won and showed great heart in round 5. It reminded me, by the way, Usman's performance. He won round 5 on 2 or 3 scorecards, and we'll get into the scoring in a second. But it reminded me of the first Douglas Lima-Roy McDonald fight in L.A., that 5-round thriller, split decision where Rory came out in round 5 and just said, no matter what it takes, I'm going to win this round to show you that I'm the champion. Obviously, Paul Hughes wins because you can make a great argument for him to have won the fight. The rounds were that close, and I know a lot of people think he got screwed, but we'll get into that. PFL wins monstrously. Why? Most importantly, because, hey, PFL, these are the two guys you need to build the entire promotion around. Like, let's wake up. And Luke, I'm going to push you back. I don't have any problem in the end with Dubai as the spot. Why? Because people showed up, and that was a real atmosphere. And it wasn't just on fight night. It was the face-offs they did in public outside. Like, there was buzz. There was anticipation. Maybe it helped you had Habib involved, and you loosely had Conor involved, and there was the Irish versus MMA narrative coming in. But none of that matters once the fight starts.
Ireland versus Dagestan.
Dagestan. Then they all hit a home run. So, hey, PFL, like, I almost want to say it, like, scrap the tournaments and do exactly this. Pick a champion in every division. I'll be honest, this should be Nurmagomedov now as the PFL lightweight champion. Or if you're dead to rights to the tournament format, then do it one more time this year and have a tournament in every division to unveil the real champion. Let a new era start that way. And let's put Nurmagomedov, Hughes, AJ McKee in this lightweight tournament. You could do that. But no matter what you do here, make the fights matter by everything building toward a title shot. Not 4 different types of belts. We got super fight belts. We got regular season belts. We got this. No, none of that. This is the type of thing. These are the assets you have. Usman, Paul Hughes, Dakota Ditcheva, Patchy Mix. We can go on and on. These are the type of guys that should be what people are tuning in for, not for your scoring structure or your smart cage, for this. So I just wanted to say that. Let's get into the scoring, though. As it went down, 47-47 even, and the other two cards were 48-46 in favor of Nurmagomedov, which with the point deduction in round 3, that means 4 rounds to 1.
Mm-hmm.
The judges agreed on round 1, where all 3 gave them to Nurmagomedov, and the judges agreed on round 3, where all 3 gave it 9-9 because of the point deduction, which means they scored it for Nurmagomedov. In real time, Luke, I scored it a draw, 47-47, which was 3 rounds to 2 for Nurmagomedov. I did feel in that moment when I saw the outrage from people, when I saw, Paul Hughes in the interview say, I'm gutted. I thought I won that. And he made a strong case. I mean, he won the story of the night, right? Like he won the moral victory, if there is one, no doubt. But upon replay, I did turn my scoring in rounds 3 and 4, the opposite of how I originally had it. But my scoring the second time, 4 rounds to 1 Nurmagomedov. So
how did you what round the second time did you give to Hughes?
So let's go through it. Look, everyone believes Nurmagomedov won round 1 from distance. He kind of outclassed him in a way. It was a slow start.
Hughes just didn't do enough.
Yes. Round 2, I thought Hughes really made it a point to make that fight physical. He was stuffing takedowns, which led to action in the clinch, which was favoring him. So I gave him round 2, and I think 2 or 3 judges did.
No, one judge did.
One judge did, excuse me. Okay. Round 3, this was the round in which the point deduction happened for the 2 low blows from Nurmagomedov. Like in round 4, where we had a big break in the action with the headbutts, I think Nurmagomedov benefited both times, even though he had to absorb that headbutt in round 4. Both times he came out better from the break and rallied in the second half of the rounds and used takedowns, used control and pressure. So round 3 was really close. The first time I scored it for Hughes. Second time I scored it for Nurmagomedov, but I do acknowledge that that's probably the closest round that could go either.
Okay.
Round 4 was, round 3, I scored at 10-8 originally for Hughes. Second time is 9-9.
Okay.
And then you go to round 4. In real time, I scored it for Hughes. I'm sorry, I scored it for Nurmagomedov.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I was like on the fence after rewatching that round. I still feel like you can lean Usman in there and go 4 rounds to 1 if you want to.
Okay.
It really was that close. I really thought the pressure he put on in the second half after the break for the headbutt, where he took him down, where he was in the clinch doing the knees to the back of the thigh, I really thought that overvalued the 1 or 2 punches that Hughes landed. And then round 5, even though one judge did give it to Hughes and he did rally in the closing seconds for some shots, I really feel like Nurmagomedov closed that down with his grappling and controlled the situations there. So I think,
see it a little different. Can I tell you my score?
Yeah, please.
So again, I have gone back and watched clips of it, but I haven't watched the fight. I mean, I had to go to the vet right after the fight was over, literally. So I have only watched clips back. When I scored it in real time the first time, and I want to get Long Island Luke's score here if we can as well. In real time, round 1 to Nurmagomedov, no problem. Round 2, I also gave to Nurmagomedov just because I thought he was doing a little bit more. I grant that one's close. 3, in real time, I gave to Hughes. In real time.
Yep.
With the point deduction, becomes 10-8. 4, I also grant is close, but I gave that to Nurmagomedov. I thought in the end he did do enough with the ground and pound on the top control position to kind of make that count. In round 5, I also recognized that one is close. I leaned Hughes on that one because I thought he did the more damaging work, but I recognize some of this stuff is harder to score.
Sure.
Long Island Luke, how did you score it?
I had it 5-0 Usman, so with the point deduction, 49-45.
Damn, you just hate the Irish, huh?
No, I didn't. In fact, I did take that Paul Hughes spread bet that I recommended everyone take, plus 9.5, and that covered easily.
Oh, nice, yeah.
But
I got texts from different people saying 4-1 Hughes, 4-1 Nurmagomedov. So I can acknowledge that.
Yeah, I could see that.
And look, the thing about Hughes is he overachieved what the expectations were coming in with betting odds, with everything. He stuffed the takedowns early.
Well, can we just say he actually only matched exactly what we said he was going to do. On this show, we told everyone he was fucking awesome.
He came as close as you could to beating him. But I think even I, in scoring in real time, were overscoring the fact that he was overachieving. When I rewatch it, I think the breaks in round 3 and 4 are really the key. Nurmagomedov came off of both of those breaks each time it happened in the middle of the round and was fresh. And it was times where you thought he might have been fading, and he used that break. He came back fresh, and he took him down. That shows the judges something, that you're taking control of it. I know his ground and pound wasn't spectacular in the top position, and Hughes was able to reverse out ultimately, but I really think it's controlling the fight. You know what I'm saying? And you have to put that up against, did Hughes do enough offensively to take those rounds from him? I just don't think he did. So I don't think it's a robbery. But if you had it 3-2 Hughes, I don't think you're crazy. It was that close. 3 and 4, I think, are those rounds that you can just flip either way.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. I really believe this, and I'll be curious to see if you agree and if Long Island Luke agrees as well, which is when the fight was over, I felt like Nurmagomedov deserved to be the rightful winner, recognizing it was close and recognizing judging can go a few directions. But my general sense was that a little bit more was done by Nurmagomedov, especially in those early rounds when he's just leg kicking. And they weren't doing a ton, but Hughes couldn't get an offensive rhythm going. He just didn't get enough going until a little bit later.
Yeah.
But this is my point. I think Hughes is going to go back and look at that footage and say to himself, why didn't I get started a little bit earlier?
He kind of punted round one away.
He punted round one away completely. And I know he was worried about the takedown. A round of applause for the takedown defense of Paul Hughes. I know they credited Usman with 4,
yeah.
but really it was one good takedown. It was that takedown around 4th. The other ones, dude, I grant they were control positions.
Sure.
And I grant that in certain cases with some of those like knees to the thigh, some of them were valuable. But pure takedowns, he got one. He got one good one. The rest were mat returns or control positions from the outside. Paul Hughes did a phenomenal job. And there's an important...
The body work from Paul Hughes was great.
The two most memorable things for me in this fight were the kicking game of Nurmagomedov, some of the takedowns, but really the kicking game.
And the threat of the high, he would always mix in the threat of the high kick.
Absolutely.
Anytime Hughes was about to put offense together.
Paul Hughes had that backhand up the whole time. But the other part of it was the body work of Paul Hughes. Dude, he had Nurmagomedov like punching over with his shoulders coming forward, leaning down. And I'm like, dude, he's going to go right to the uppercut. He went right to the uppercut.
And every time Nurmagomedov had him in that tie clinch, Hughes would just power through either the body or upstairs with punches.
Destroying the body of Nurmagomedov.
So he succeeded in luring. I mean, so in the first round, he gave up too much distance. In the second round, he came right out, closed that distance. And what it forced Nurmagomedov to do was to constantly go for the clinch, to go for the trip. And that's where that opened up a lot more offense for Hughes. So Hughes gets so much credit here. The defense, Luke, the poise, the cardio, the everything. He's legitimately world-class. Dustin Poirier tweeted out how much he appreciated that. A lot of people were comparing the performance of Hughes in here to the spirit of Dustin in those ways. No doubt he jumps through as legit, elite, world-class, no question. How did, honestly, the UFC not offer him a contract?
They did. They just offered him no money.
Oh, so it was a
contender
series type thing? Yeah.